The New York Giants are open for business. At least that's the way that new general manager Joe Schoen made it seem in speaking to reporters at the Combine. Joining me now from Locked On Giants, Patricia Traina. And Patricia, this was a comment where Schoen said, look, we're going to consider every player, and essentially no one is untouchable, including someone like Saquon Barkley. How big a deal is this to you that he's saying this?
To be honest with you, Peter, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I'll tell you why. He's a new GM, first-time GM. What do you want him to say? This is a team that is coming off of a 4-13 record the year prior. Nobody should be untouchable, in my opinion. Now, he also said, just a little what wasn't reported. After his podium session, he went in the back and talked with some of the Giant beat writers, and he said, "Oh, somebody like Kadarius Toney isn't really touchable." So that whole thing about nobody's untouchable is not really true. But with Saquon Barkley, what's interesting, Barkley is entering the option year of his contract. He's going to count for $7.2 million and some change, guaranteed against the salary cap this year. The Giants are in salary cap hell thanks to moves that they made last year under the previous regime. So I can understand him wanting to maybe drum up some business to move some people, especially if those people aren't going to be in the long-term plans of the franchise.
That leads us to a somewhat depressing question, and that is, who would teams want? This is not a talent-rich roster, despite the fact that they are, as you said, bumping up against the salary cap. Who are the names of guys who could make sense as potential trade bait for New York?
Well, it depends, because the Giants also have a lot of guys with bloated contracts, but I would say maybe James Bradbury, cornerback, who has a $21+ million cap hit. Maybe a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, who have had problems with their defensive secondary, could use a guy like that. You could make an argument for Leonard Williams, who, despite the fact that his numbers were down last year, he is still a very good player, a guy who can play against the run, rush the passer. But I'm not so sure he's touchable, to be honest with you. Barkley, obviously, you can look to move him. If you really were taking this to the letter that everybody's, on the table, you can make a case for Andrew Thomas, but I don't see that happening. Andrew Thomas, the left tackle. So really not a whole lot of guys, in my opinion, because again, it's a 4-13 team. They've already started cutting guys off the roster who underperformed. There's still more cuts that are going to come. And really, this is a team that I think they would like to stock up on draft picks. They have 9 picks as of this recording. Hopefully they get a few more. I think that's what they're looking to do, to build through the draft. And from there, we'll see what kind of roster they put together.
What about Joe Schoen doing business with his old team for a potential Super Bowl contender that is in desperate need of an upgrade in the run game?
I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, a matter of fact, I fully expect Joe Schoen to raid the Buffalo Bills. I mean, there's an offensive lineman, Ike Boker, I think it is, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent. I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants, kick the tires on him. There's been talk that they might go after Mitchell Trubisky, the backup quarterback. I don't know that that's going to happen, because I've been hearing Trubisky wants, low-level type starter money, which I can't see the Giants paying. They already have Jake Fromm on the roster, who they poached from the practice squad last year. They have Davis Webb, who they poached in the earlier in this offseason. So yeah, I could definitely see some transactions going on there with the Bills. Obviously Shane knows Brandon Beane after working with him for since 2017. Beane knows Shane. He also knows, Dable, the head coach. So absolutely, I could see some deals being done there.